So Catherine is a proud alum for a fun, real-world talk about how to make your dreams a reality. She's been getting people hired since '97, and she's really stinking good at it. In fact, as Chief Strike Changer for ARBEZ, a firm she started in '06, she's helping all people around the world do what they love for a living. So sit tight and enjoy, and don't forget, just like the last time, there will be Q&A at the end. And so let's just welcome Catherine to the stage.
Thank you. So Ashley, I think that people might need handouts, and I think I took them with me. All right. Well, hello, Lancers. So just a show of hands, how many of you are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors? Nice, we've got a mix, love it. So we're gonna have some fun today. So how many of you came to college because you wanted to have a fantastic life? You wanted to have fun, you wanted to jump out of bed on Monday mornings and make good money? How many of you came to college just because you weren't quite ready to get into the real world and college seemed kind of like a fun idea? No, a little of both for me. So I'm going to talk with you today about how to make your dream job possible, because you know that finding a job can be hard, right? How many of you have been rejected for a job in your life? It's horrible, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I get a rejection, it can knock me flat for an entire day. It's hard. So I'm going to talk about what to do to boost yourself up before you go in there to reduce the number of rejections, and what to do when you do get knocked sideways, how to stand back up again. And normally when the rejection is there, it probably wasn't the right fit for you. But anyway, so I'm going to start out by sharing a couple of stories, because the big magic question is, what am I going to do with my degree? How many of you have a degree that you aren't quite sure what jobs are available for you? Anybody? I was a sociology, criminology major, and I started out in social work, and then I decided I wanted to go see the world, and I didn't really know what was possible and if my degree would get me anywhere, and I'm happy to tell you it got me lots of places. But how many of you are in a degree where you know exactly what you want to do? Nice. That's fun. That's unusual. That's like, what, a third of you? Well, the short story that I want you to walk away with today is that every single one of you can get not just a job, but a job you love. How many of you have friends, family, like parents that are unhappy at work? It's horrible, isn't it? 40, 50, 60 hours a week? It does not have to be that way. And that is why I'm here, is to teach you how to take charge and how to go and get a job you're going to love. So you can do what you love for a living, but it does take a little bit of work. So how many of you are familiar with Andrew Zimmern and Bizarre Foods? So he's out of Minneapolis, which is where I live. You can ask me later, how on earth did I get to Minnesota? But I grew up in Northern Virginia in Aldi. Does anybody know where Aldi is? Awesome. Andrew Zimmern is actually from Minnesota. And a lovely young woman by the name of Molly Mogren is also from Minneapolis. And when she graduated from college, she was a journalism major. And she watched Andrew Zimmern on television on the Food Network, and she said, I want to work for him. And everybody told her she's crazy, he's big stuff, he's on the Food Network, ain't no way he's going to hire you. And she said, I don't care, I'm going to work for Andrew Zimmern. So in her senior year, she started calling him and emailing him and trying to get introduced to him, and she wasn't hearing anything back. And finally, somebody connected her, and he replied and said, thanks so much, I'm not hiring. She did not give up. She chased him for 6 months, and he finally said, okay, I'll meet you for coffee, but I'm not hiring when I'm in town next. So he came into Minneapolis, and she met him for coffee, and he hired her. He hired her, and for the next 7 years, Molly was, she'll tell you, she was the voice of a bald Jewish man. That was her job. She was the voice of Andrew Zimmern. She created Go Fork Yourself, and she did that with him, a podcast. She traveled all over the world. She wrote several books with him. She had her absolute dream job. How many times did he say no to her? I wish she'd kept count. Nicely, he's like, okay, no, and she didn't give up. And for 7 years, she got to fly all over the world and do what she loved. So that's one story. There she is, I don't know what chainsaws and food have to do with each other, but there she is with Andrew somewhere in the world. So another story that I love is Chris Schumacher. I met him when he was a sophomore at the University of Minnesota, and he came to a networking group that I run, which is full of people like age 40 and up, like a whole bunch of gray hair, people who'd hated their careers, and in walks Chris, because he had both his arms broken and his dad dragged him on the way to the doctor and made him come to this networking group. And he was like, I'm just here to visit. And I said, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he said, I want to make things fly to the moon. And I said, are you kidding me? Tell me more about that. And I was so excited to meet him and help him do his dream. He was an aerospace engineering student. So he and I stayed in touch. And he did my full online video program on how to get a job, and he did great internships and stuff. When he graduated, he got a job on campus as a research assistant. So he didn't do any other job hunting. 1 month into this research job, his boss on campus looked at him, so it was like June, end of June, and said, Chris, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say this to you, but I can't pay you. I didn't get the funding approved. So not only had he worked for free for a month, but he had no job prospects. How fast do you think Chris found a job? From zero, the job that I love just went away, to I got another job. How fast? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So in sharp contrast to these guys, I know somebody else. I'll just call him Alex to protect his innocence. He graduated from UCLA with a degree in neuroscience. He is crazy, scary smart. He's got an amazing personality. And when I met him, he was living in his parents' basement, unemployed, 9 months out of school. What do you think is the difference between Molly and Chris and Alex? What's different? What's going on there? No idea, that's why you're here. No ideas of why those two got jobs and he didn't? Yes?
Lack of drive.
Yeah, he wasn't sure. He knew that he didn't want to be a neuroscientist, and he didn't know what else to do, and so he kind of gave up. He did. He gave up. Yep, that's the biggest reason. There are some other things we'll get into in a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of a depressing statistic, and then I'm going to lift you back up again, because I just need you to know the reality. For people who don't figure out what they want, and they don't get a little focused, and they don't walk through their fear, and when they get one rejection letter, they give up for an entire week. This is the average American job search right now. I think that is absolutely unacceptable. I know it's unacceptable. I've been in this business for 18 years getting people hired. This is unacceptable. There's some good news. It was a high of 40 weeks as we were coming out of the recession. So this is what happens when you blindly go into your job search and you say, I don't know, I'll see what's out there. I'm going to apply for a bunch of jobs online and somebody's going to take a chance on me. That's what you get. But relax, there is a better way, I promise. How many of you, again, have been rejected? Like a third of you? Did you feel like this? Horrible, horrible. Okay, so there is a better way, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, number one, I want to share the 4 biggest barriers to success. The 4 biggest things that are going to get in the way of you getting any job, let alone one that you love. I'm going to share the best kept job hunt secret. I'd love to tell you I came flying out of Longwood and I had this all figured out. I didn't. Number 1, I didn't know what I wanted. I'll tell you a little later what happened to me, but I've learned a lot, and I want to spare you from a lot of the pain and suffering that I went through. So, best kept job hunt secret, 4 simple steps to a job you love, and then help beyond a day. So, 4 biggest barriers to your success. What do you think they are? Ideas. Anyone? You've said it, lack of drive. That is a challenge. What else?
Yourself.
Yourself. Say, yes, say a little more about that. It's true. So one piece of it is I don't really want a job. I've worked really hard for the last 4 or 5 years. My parents are letting me live with them. That's okay. And I'm going to tell you that is okay. If you need a little breather and your parents are cool with it, that's fine. But there was something else that you mentioned, not believing in yourself, not thinking you're good enough, smart enough. I was in a senior seminar class last night, and we were talking with somebody who was applying online for a position, and they were asking for fluent in 4 languages. She was thoroughly discouraged, and she had decided, I'm not good enough, I can't go after that job. And I said, well, just forget, I said, I got a theory, because I see this all the time. That's their online job posting. Reality is they hire people without 4 languages all the time. No, I don't think so. Well, let's go find out. And I went hunting on LinkedIn, and I found an intern at that organization who was working there who only spoke 1 language. So I said, online job postings are an excruciating hard way to get a job. There is a better way. So yourself, head games, the little voices in your head, maybe lack of drive. What else do you think are the biggest barriers to your success? Yes?
Me?
Yeah.
Lack of direction, like not knowing what you want to do or like where to even begin.
That is a huge stopper. Yeah, because if you don't know where to go, where do you even look? What do you do? Yes?
Not using your resources?
Yes, say a little more about that.
I guess I don't really know. That's probably also another thing is not knowing what your resources are.
Yeah.
I think just like in the college mindset, you know how to succeed in classes, but then when you leave that, you wonder if everything you have is really helpful for the future.
Absolutely. So not knowing what resources are available and how to use them. And so as we wrap up today, I'm going to talk about Help Beyond a Day. And I have some recommendations for you about resources that are out there that are ready and waiting to help you. Anything else that you think gets in the way of job search success? There are a lot of challenges. So job postings that stink, like the one that requires 4 languages and probably 3 PhDs and 59 years of experience. I mean, there are job postings that are unrealistic, that are poorly written. Then on the flip side, 80% of the jobs never even get posted online. They're called the hidden jobs. Have you guys heard about those? Never, ever, ever are you going to find them on a job board because they're sitting in the head of a manager somewhere who says, oh my gosh, I need to hire somebody over here, but what? There's a fire here, a business trip here, and they get busy and they never get around to putting together a job description and posting them. So there are a ton of opportunities for you that aren't even online. So there are lots of challenges like that. There are interviewers that are really bad at interviewing. How many of you have had an interview or a mock interview and you were like, oh, I don't want to work with that guy? Anybody yet? I would like to tell you that none of you are going to experience that. The truth is, all of you are going to go on an interview and you're going to walk out shaking your head thinking, what just happened to me? That's their bad behavior. That you can't control that. We're going to talk today about the things that you can control. And the 4 biggest barriers are all kind of in your own head. So let's take a look at them. Number 1, lack of focus. You guys nailed it. Lack of action. So if you don't know what you want and you don't know what your resources are, how can you take action? The only thing that you know how to do is sit surfing the web hoping something jumps out and grabs you. What about fear? I think you were alluding to this a little bit when you were talking about I'm not good enough. When I say fear is the 3rd barrier to success, what are job seekers, what are maybe you afraid of? What's the worst thing that can happen to you out there in the job market? Yes?
Never finding a job, it's like continuously searching.
Yeah, no success, never finding a job. What else are you afraid of?
Getting a bad review from a previous employer and getting nowhere afterwards.
Reference checks can be a scary thing, especially if it's a former employer who you didn't get along with because they were a terrible manager and this employer might call. Yeah, so fear of a negative reference, whether you give their name or not. What else? Yes?
Not being qualified.
Not being qualified. Not having the 4 languages or whatever it is they're asking for. So you have education and you know you can do it, but they say you need 3 years of experience. So not having enough experience. What else? Yes?
Being underpaid,
Yeah.
especially as a woman too.
That's not fun. I got a little story for you in a little bit about being underpaid that I think you'll relate to. What about rejection? How many of you like it when somebody says, no? Okay, so here's the truth. About 30% of us fear rejection more than anything else. Another 30%, maybe 25% fear failure. So there are people that sort of fall into buckets of what they fear more than anything. I'm in the I really hate being rejected. So I do things to protect myself from being rejected, which means in a job search, if I have a phone call to make, which is kind of scary, I'll get busy doing something else over here and I'll put the phone call off till tomorrow. So fear of rejection. So fear, I bring that up because most of us, especially as we get older, we feel like, oh, I'm a grown-up now, I'm not supposed to get scared of anything. Not true. In fact, I would argue as like my responsibilities grow and I have children and a house and a husband, fear of failure and like getting fired and not getting the job grows even more. So I just want you to know that that's totally normal and it's a good sign. If you're nervous about something, it means that you're paying attention and that it's important to you. The fourth biggest barrier is isolation. So you said not using your resources. Number one challenge, I don't know what my resources are, but then number two, trying to figure it all out on your own. How many of you are experts at getting jobs? Why would you be? Until you've done it a bunch of times, you wouldn't be. But there's something weird. When you need a job, it's a human instinct. People all of a sudden think, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. And rather than saying, hey, help me, here's what I'm looking for, do you have any ideas? They kind of pull in. And before they know it, they're in their basement, in their sweatpants, all by themselves, feeling this big, thinking nobody's ever going to hire me. And it's because they let themselves get isolated. So lack of focus. It's hard to figure out what you want, isn't it? What was it, about a third of you that know exactly what you want to do next? The rest of you are like me. I don't know what I want to do with a sociology degree. This is hard. So I'm going to share with you the best kept job hunt secret, which is going to help all of you get focused and get the job that you want. Are you ready? Of course you are. You're like, stop talking, just tell us what it is. Okay. The more you focus on what you want, the faster you will get it. This is counterintuitive to I need a job. You're going to read and hear and see all of this noise about what to wear, show up 10 minutes early, this is what employers want, this is what your resume needs to be like, this is how you need to prepare for the interview for them. And I'm going to tell you that if you always first stop and breathe and think, what do I want out of this situation? It's going to help you do all that other stuff better. Most people skip this and they jump right into the job search, and all of a sudden they're spinning their wheels, they don't know what they're doing, they're showing up in interviews loosey-goosey, they don't do well in interviews because the interviewer says, so Davis, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he took me on a fantastic tour today, so I happen to know that he knows exactly what he wants to do, and so you would knock my socks off. But most people, do you want to share with them what you want to do? No? Okay, it's all right, it's all right. So if you know what you want to do, doors start to fly open for you. If you don't know what you want to do, it's hard to just put one foot in front of the other. So what I'm going to teach you today is, if you know what kind of a job you want, I'm going to help you tighten that up even more so that you can know who to talk to and what companies might hire. If you're in that camp where you have no idea what you want to do, then I'm going to ask you to start focusing on things like, where do you want to live? What kind of companies are interesting to you? Is there a company whose product you buy all the time that you just love? If you don't know what job you want to do, what else are you attracted to? What kind of a life do you want to have? And the jobs will start to fall into that. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper. So I actually own a zebra, and his name is Joe. My husband is from South Africa, and when we got married, his parents said, an American? You're marrying an American? What are we going to get her for a wedding present? And then they looked at each other and said, I bet she doesn't have a zebra. So they seriously bought me a zebra. And they had a game farm, and they put him on the farm and said, now you have to come visit us. So his name is Joe, and they gave me a headshot and a stock certificate. Well, what do you think I wanted to do every time I went to visit them in South Africa? Find my zebra. But all I had was this. And, you know, if only he would be sitting out there all by himself, but no, he was hidden in a herd of about 30 zebras. How many of you are zebra aficionados? Do you know that the stripes on a zebra are as unique as our fingerprints? So every single zebra is just as unique as we are, and I now am able to start to tell the differences between some zebras. But looking at this, can you tell me which guy is mine? Absolutely not. So Joe is looking for a job. Did you know that? My poor little zebra here is looking for a job, and he's here today, and he's going to introduce himself to somebody. Who will play with me?
I'll play.
Oh, thank you. Well, hi there. How you doing? I'm Joe.
Jacob, nice to meet you, Joe.
Nice to meet you. So I need a job. I'm looking for a job as a waiter. I'll work anywhere. I mean, I live in Richmond, but, you know, do you know anybody that's hiring?
No idea.
All right, well, nice to meet you. What was your name again? Tom? Jacob. Tom, Jacob. Okay, well, good luck to you. All right, so that's Joe. What job does Joe want? Waiter. Who wants to hire him?
Not Jacob.
Jacob, why not? Why couldn't you help him? He just wants a job as a waiter. Don't you know of any restaurants?
I have no idea.
No. All right, so what did Jacob do wrong? What did he do right? Let's be nice to him at first. He showed up and he went and met a stranger. Did he smile at you? I don't know if he even smiled at you. Okay, that's what he did right. What did he do wrong? What did he not do very well? Why did he not get a job lead?
He said he'll work anywhere. Like he didn't have a location. He didn't have a company.
Do you want to work in Tahiti? Where do you want to work? So he was like all over the board. Why else do you think maybe he didn't have any luck with Jacob?
He didn't really relate to him or like develop some sort of rapport with him?
So Joe's got some problems because there's some competition here today. His name is Mike, and Mike came out a little bit later, like 10 minutes later, same event, and introduced himself to Jacob and said, "Hi, how are you doing? My name's Mike.
Great,
Mike
Jacob,
Jones.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So what brings you here today?"
I'm here to get job advice.
You are?
Yes.
Me too. What are you looking for? What do you want to do?
Software engineering.
Oh, I know a whole bunch of software engineers. Do you know where you want to work or what kind of software you want to work on?
No, not particularly, but in the health industry, so like IT stuff, like Fitbit or like.
So my good friend Catherine Byers Breet recruited IT people in the healthcare industry for like a bajillion years. Would you like me to introduce you to her?
That'd be lovely.
Like she has like a ton of IT directors, CIOs, software developers that can would be happy to talk to you. So let me hook you up with her. Do you have a card or can we connect on LinkedIn? Are you LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yeah.
All right, LinkedIn, let's do it. So I'll give you my card. We'll do the LinkedIn thing.
Perfect.
Before you leave today, we will. So I'd love to help you out with that. So you probably came to meet a bunch of other people today. Can I tell you quickly what I'm looking for?
Sure.
I'm on the hunt for a job too. I am a fanatic for fabulous food. So I absolutely love eating. And even more than that, I love serving people and creating memorable dining experiences. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
In town?
Yeah.
Probably Charlie's.
All right, Charlie's, and I haven't been there yet, but I gotta go.
Seriously?
So I went to McAdoo's today. Oh. I gotta go to Charlie's. All right, so Charlie's sounds like the kind of place where I wanna work. For me, it's about creating such an experience that people wanna come back over and over and over again. And the food's important, but so is the service. And I wanna own my own business one day when I grow up. So do you have any suggestions for me? Do you know anybody? Do you happen to know the owner of Charlie's or, no?
I don't, but if you're looking to open your own business in town, I know Uptown Cafe is owned by some alumni, so they run their own business there.
I'd love to talk to them. That'd be great. So you know them? Would you be willing to introduce me?
I don't know them.
Okay. Well, I'll hunt them down. I'll go to the Alumni Center and find out who they are. Woo! And then if you run across anybody else that works like in the restaurant industry, like liquor distributors or vendors, food vendors or linen distributors, anybody like that would be really good connections for me. So I'll send you a LinkedIn note and remind you what I'm looking for. You remind me what you're looking for, and I will introduce you to Catherine. How's that?
Perfect.
Nice to meet you. Have fun
Nice to meet
today. All right. So that was Mike. He looks exactly like Joe. What job does Mike want?
Waiter.
Waiter? Is that it? What kind of a restaurant? Was he more excited about McAdoo's or Charlie's? You're like, it's a really nice restaurant. Okay, maybe you didn't tell. All right, what else did he do differently from Joe? Yes?
He asked about the person first.
It wasn't all about him. What else?
He wasn't descriptive about what he wanted and he was engaging.
How did it feel to you, Jacob?
More personal.
More personal? So it wasn't, You guys didn't say it, but Joe was coming across desperate. It is all about him. He needs a job. If you can't help him right now, he's out of there. But for Mike, it was about building a relationship and a connection. What else did Mike do better?
Ask for his information.
Offered to help him, asked to get connected and stay connected. You're going to meet so many people. It happens on campus even. You meet people, it's like a 3-minute conversation. You're not going to remember their name tomorrow. Exchange information with your cell phones. It is so, I've been doing it on campus. I've been like, okay, let's connect on LinkedIn. Let me quickly look you up right now because I'm not going to remember your name tomorrow. So let's just do this right now so we can stay in touch. So it's a little silly to talk about zebras, but you're not going to forget this little illustration because you are going to feel like one zebra in a herd of 3,000 when you're looking for a job. And I want you to remember that, number one, you are unique. I don't care how many other people you see that have more education experience, blah, blah, blah. You are unique. You bring some special things to the party. But I also want you to understand that you got to do a little work and you have to figure out how to stand out from the herd like Mike did so that you don't feel like poor Joe. Bad day, unemployed. All right, this is hard, isn't it? Figuring out what you want. I know it's hard, so I'm going to help you with this a little bit. I've got some prizes. Yes, and so the first person to win today is Jacob, because can we give him a hand for putting up with me? I mean, seriously. So what you are going to win today is my $200 online job hunt coaching system.
Oh, wow.
It's got over 50 videos, 30 exercises. It is job search from A to Z. I spent so many years on the hiring side of the desk, and I wanted to help every candidate, and I couldn't. I could really only do rewrites on resumes and coaching for like my top 3 candidates for every position. So I started my own business and built this online system so you have answers 24/7 every step of the way. So congratulations. Yes? See what happens when you're brave enough to like walk through your fear and let a speaker like play with you here in public. So there it is. It's the online system. $200 value. It's a 4-step process. Videos, that's me. They're all short, 2 to 3 minutes. What are recruiters? How do you work with them? There's samples, all sorts of things. So homework assignment for all of you, because we have just a short event together today. This is a game changer. It's on your handout. If you go home and think about this and fill in these blanks, and as you go through your schooling at Longwood, as you meet people, as you talk to Catherine Byers Breet, AKA me, and some of the IT people that I know, you're going to start to say, oh, I do not want to be stuck in a basement 3 floors down at 3M. That is death. I want to be a software developer who's in like a fun, hip, new startup in Silicon Valley. Like that's where I want to be. So this is going to change, but you need to start somewhere. Because I hope today I inspire you to go out and start talking to alumni and friends and family and say, hey, here's what I'm studying. I want to open my own business one day. I want to be in software development. Do you know anybody? Do you have any suggestions for me? And they're going to say, tell me more about what you want. You're going to say, I don't know. They're not going to help you. But if you can tell them what Jacob just did, I want a job in software development. It looked like Silicon Valley was more exciting to you than the bottom floor at 3M. Okay, so I want to work with innovators, like Apple, Amazon. I want to work with innovators. I'm open on industry, but I am really attracted to Amazon and startups, disruptors. Why? Why? What is it about software development that gets you excited?
I've just always been passionate about technology.
Okay.
So
do you love creating things? Do you love making people? Okay. So your why, and then you need to be able to tell people how they can help you get it. So this is what I want to do, but I don't even know who might be hiring. Do you know where I can go find the jobs? Maybe that's what you would say. Good connections for you can jot this down. I'm going to tell you, because I lived in that world for so long, good connections for you are CIOs, software developers, anybody that's in the technology industry. Here's why this is so important. When you say to somebody, I'm graduating in May and I don't have a job, can you help me? And they say, how can I help you? If you just say to them, I want to work in geriatric care, that's what I want to do. Magdalena. Yeah? Geriatric, one thing you're interested in. If you just say, I'm interested in geriatrics, and they don't even know what that word means, they're going to say, oh, good luck to you, and walk away. But if Magdalena says, I really want to put the fun back in the lives of old people. I want them to die and age gracefully. You can probably skip the die thing. Oops. I want them to age. I want to help people age gracefully. I want to put the fun back in the lives of people that are elderly and frail. I love working with people that are older. Good connections for me are people that run assisted living facilities and nursing homes, in-home nursing care. Those would be really good connections for me. Now, if you tell me that, and I didn't know what geriatric is, but you tell me nursing homes, assisted living, oh my gosh, my neighbor's dad just went into an assisted living facility. Do you want to talk to them? They probably know the executive director, and you'll say, yeah. So, will you guys commit to your future and commit to doing this exercise and then talking to somebody about it? Talk to your roommate, talk to your parents, go into the career services and talk to them about this and let them help you start to tighten this up. Raise your hand if you're willing to do this. Okay, so I know who wants jobs. Everybody that raised their hand. This is magic. Does it feel overwhelming? Not so much. I promise you, if you just start, other people will help you. You can even drag this around with you. And when somebody says, what do you want? You can say, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe you can help me figure this out. So this will change the game for you and get you the job that you want in a matter of weeks versus 7.5 months. All right. So the number 2 barrier to success, lack of action. I don't know what to do. I get it. I understand. I've been there. What to do about it? There's one solution. Talk to people. I don't want you to worry about, am I talking to the right person? Every person you bump, I want you to start, especially how many of you are juniors and seniors? You need to strike up conversations with every stranger that you bump into. Say, hi, how are you doing today? What you got in your basket? Oh, artichokes? What do you do with those? Strike up a conversation. So, hey, I'm graduating soon. I'm thinking about working with youth. You happen to know anybody in that space? How many of you think that's like crazy and weird? Most of you are Southerners. You know how to talk to strangers. Yeah? Job hunting is a contact sport. It is not rugby, thank goodness. Are there any ruggers in the room? Just us. Just us. I played rugby here at Longwood. So it's not this painful. It might be a little awkward at first, but the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So just remember that job hunting is a contact sport, and if you do nothing else, you just got to keep reaching out to people. And that's where you're going to find the hidden jobs. That's where you're going to find the job that you want. So fear of all sorts of things. I'm not good enough. They don't want me. I'm not going to get a job. Fear is this big ball of wax. The biggest thing that holds job seekers back is this fear of rejection. What if I apply and they don't talk to me? What if I reach out to this? So Catherine was sitting here the other day and she said, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. What if I send her an invitation and she ignores me? A lot of people just don't do it because they're afraid of rejection, and I promise you I understand this. I want to share a couple of anecdotes with you. So just for giggles, who knows who made this quote? I've missed over 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I was the guy that my team trusted to win, and I lost. Who knows who this is? It is Michael Jordan. Probably the most successful basketball player in history, and look at how much failure he dealt with. What about this? Who do you think was rejected 302 times before he got funding for his dream? Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, or Walt Disney? Walt Disney. 302 times people said no. Finally, one person said yes, and look at how successful he is. What about this guy? Rejected 1,009 times. Was that Colonel Sanders, Jack Folk of Bojangles, or Truett Cathy of Chick-fil-A? Colonel Sanders. That man took his chicken recipe and his car all over the place to 1,009 restaurant owners. Trust me, it's delicious. And they said no. Who's eating at Kentucky Fried Chicken? Next time you get smacked down and you feel like you can't stand up, I want you to go out there for some inspiration. I do. I do this. I've been at this 18 years. I'd like to tell you, nobody knocks me down. I'm through it. I get knocked down. As a business owner, a small business owner, I'm a professional job hunter. I am out knocking on doors looking for new business every day, and I get knocked flat. Broken promises, people that say, oh my gosh, we can't wait to work with you, and then they say, oh, as a matter of fact, we don't have any money. It is devastating. It happens all the time. I go out on the internet and quickly look for a little inspiration to pick me back up again. I have quotes up on my bulletin board to inspire me. I crank up my favorite music. I call champions. There are a lot of strategies that I use to fill myself back up again. Figure out what those strategies are. You are gonna get rejected. You are. But the success on the other side is incredible. So, finding this magic place where your dreams meet your reality is hard. It is hard. And so, I got a question for you. Because when I fall down and I'm in the dirt and I just think, or one day I was sitting on the curb in my, I kid you not, 3 years into my business, I took a walk. My husband's in my business with me, and I could not face him and tell him that I'd lost a deal. I just couldn't. And so I said, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'll be right back. And I walked around my neighborhood and midday, and I sat down on the curb and I started to cry. Because I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I did not know how to stand back up again. And I had to get back to, why am I doing this? Why do I want my own business? What do I want to achieve? And sometimes I go all the way back to those dreams that I had when I was little. So just for giggles, I want you to turn to your neighbor. You may have to turn around. Turn to somebody near you and tell them, what did you want to be when you were little? So turn to your neighbor and tell them what you wanted to be when you were little.
My mom is so we went into school nurse. As long as it's not, I understand you're spending a limited amount of time with children. Get them, tell them what's wrong with them, and send them. I agree. Well, my mom is
All right. I'm hearing some laughter out there. What is that about? Why are you laughing? Who wanted to be what when they were little?
Paige wanted to work at SeaWorld.
SeaWorld! Yay! What was the name of that orca? Shamu. You wanted to be the one that came up on Shamu and waved? All right, so Paige, we got to talk about that for a little bit. Because, I mean, no. Like, I could make some assumptions that you love to swim. I could make assumptions that you love to be in the spotlight. I can make assumptions that you were a gymnast. So what is it, as a little girl, when you saw the girl coming out on Shamu, what was it that would attracted you to that?
Well, I love animals, but it really was, I was like sitting next to my dad at SeaWorld, and he turned to me and he was like, Paige, if you were that girl who's on the Shamu nose, I would be so proud of you. And that was my mind, and that was what I had to do. In order to be successful.
Dad? I think I want to meet your dad. He sounds pretty cool, although that's a little bit of pressure. Okay, so, you know, but I'm actually glad that you said that. So you wanted to make your dad proud because he said to you, if you did that, I'd be proud of you. So that's a lot of motivation in our life, isn't it? How many of you would still like to make your parents proud? Absolutely. Absolutely. Pay attention to that. Okay, who else wants to share what they wanted to be when they were little?
I want to be an animal control officer.
An animal control officer. Tell why.
Because I
I like like on Animal Planet, they always have like the animal cops of Houston or LA or whatever, and I thought that would be pretty cool if I could like save puppies or horses or whatever, so I thought that would be kind of cool.
Rescue animals. Is there anything else about that job that looked really appealing to you?
I don't know, playing with puppies. I mean, I don't know. It's just like, like playing with puppies, of course, but then like helping people who are helping animals that really can't like help themselves, you know. So that was great. I thought that was kind of cool.
So how many people in the room wanted to be cowboys? Nobody. How about princesses? We've come a long way. No, we've come a long way. They did a survey on this, I don't know, 20 years ago, and like the number one wannabe when you're little was a cowboy, the number two was princess. We have a different problem now. They surveyed a bunch of high school students and asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up. Do you know what a lot of them said? I want to be the assistant to Taylor Swift. I want to be the assistant to Kanye West. I want to be the assistant to the president. What is that about? Why do they want to be the assistant and not the gal or the guy? I don't know. So anyway, another question for you. When did you stop believing in riding on Shamu? When did you decide that you didn't want to be in animal control? Or maybe you do. Do you still want to be in animal control? Maybe your interests have changed. Maybe you don't want to get in a wetsuit every day. Absolutely not. Okay. Are there any of you that had dreams as a little kid that you gave up on because somebody told you that you couldn't? Wow, not a lot of you. I have been so impressed with the Longwood students in the last day. I got to tell you, your dreams were kiboshed. Me too. All right, so for the 4 of us in the room, maybe it's 7 of us whose dreams were kiboshed, I'm going to share a little story. That's me. One of 5 kids playing in the dirt with my Tonka truck. There were 2 things that I wanted to be when I was little. National Geographic photographer. We used to fight over the National Geographic magazine that came in the mail, and I used to like run and get it first and like hide it in my room. I wanted to go to every single one of those places and see the animals and the people. I was fascinated, so I wanted to do that. And I wanted to sing on stage. When I was little, I thought those dreams were about photography and singing. That's what I thought I wanted. Unfortunately, my parents, who were very traditional, conservative, heard me sing and said, you can sing in a choir, but you probably shouldn't try to be center stage. Do you think I listened to them? I entered one competition in 6th grade. I didn't even place, and I decided it's a fact, I'm not good enough, and I never chased it. Photography, same thing. I have an eye for framing a picture, but I wasn't very good at the lighting and stuff, and so my dad said, you know, there are very few people that are good enough to be National Geographic photographers. So I just ran away from those dreams. But my entire life I've been attracted to something behind all that. So what do you do when your dreams are dashed and you don't know what you want to be when you grow up? You go to college. And lucky for me, I chose Longwood. I chose Longwood. So there I am. Hair was big, 89, big hair, big bangs. So that was me, and I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to you, those are some friends. I joined ASA, yep, I played rugby, I had a lot of fun. And I got a degree in sociology because I'm fascinated by what makes people tick. How many of you have human services degrees that you're working on? Health, human services, soft stuff, sort of, okay, not a lot of you. All right, I'll move through this fast then. So sociology degree. So then I graduated and I said, okay, now what? So what do you guys think I could have done with a sociology degree? Ideas. Social services. And I did that for 2 years, and then I decided, no, I want to see the world. That dream I had as a little girl to be a National Geographic photographer never went away. So I looked at travel abroad, I looked at being an English teacher abroad. I wanted to go see the world. And then I tried something. How many of you talked to the Peace Corps at the career fair yesterday? All right? Were they nice to you? They were not nice to me. First of all, there were no career fairs on campus. There was a file cabinet and a student assistant in the career services department. So you guys are so lucky. I'm amazed at what Longwood's doing for you. I reached out to the Peace Corps. I got a paper application and I mailed it in. I had been a summer camp counselor on the Appalachian Trail with inner city kids for 2 summers, hiking all day, sleep under the tarps, teaching them to do high ropes courses, canoeing down the river, hard living on rocks for 2 summers. I thought, I'm a shoo-in. Peace Corps is going to love me. I'm a sociology major. I understand people. They're going to hire me. I got a big fat rejection letter. At least they cared to give me a rejection letter back. So I got a rejection letter. What do you think I did after that? Do you think I tried again? Do you think I took advantage of my father's connections in Washington, D.C., born and raised in Washington, D.C.? He said to me, let me help you get into the Peace Corps. I'm good. I'm going to do this on my own. It's okay. I don't want to go there anyway. Then a friend of mine got accepted by the Peace Corps because she had a biology degree, and she went overseas, and she quit. And I was like, see what I mean? She couldn't sleep under tarps on rocks. They should have hired me. I still didn't do anything. I was too proud to let my father make connections for me. How many of you understand that feeling? Please let that go. This is how people get hired. They get hired by referral. Companies do hire candidates online, but it's less than 10%. 90% of their hires come through referral or some other channel. Let your friends, your family, strange women that you meet on campus who say, I'm going to help you. Let me help you. I don't have all the answers, and my connections may not help you, but man, it's a whole lot better than sitting on your parents' couch in the basement surfing the internet. If your parents say, I've got a connection for you, suck it up and say, all right, thank you, I'd appreciate that. Because I would have loved to work for the Peace Corps. So, it's all right. Before you get really sad for me, I found success in other ways. I have had 12 jobs at 9 different companies in the last 23 years since I graduated from Longwood. How many of you think that sounds like fun? How many of you are horrified? I do not want that many jobs. That means like 12 job searches and a whole lot of change. Every one of those jobs got me to where I am now in my own business. Some of them were not fun. And I stuck with them. What I really want to share with you is all of those jobs, which could be otherwise considered what to do with a sociology degree. I do want to share this with all of you, even though a lot of you are not in the liberal arts, human services space, but I've been, so out of college, I was a camp counselor in New Jersey and California. I was a bartender in Seattle and Alaska. I was trying to see the world. I got across America. I was a tour guide in Alaska. I was a flight attendant, and in 12 months, I got 1 overseas trip. Then I fell into recruiting backwards. Somebody said to me, you'd make a great recruiter, and I said, what is that? And they said, you're gonna get to help people find their dream job. That's all I heard. And then I said, how much are you going to pay me? And they said $20,000 base plus commissions. You could earn $50,000 in your first year. I was making $14,000 as a flight attendant. I did the math, and I said, sign me up. I was there for 6 years, recruiter, director of recruiting, sales. Then I quit my job, I sold my house, I moved to South Africa, and had a lot of fun. And then I came back to America. I got another job in sales, a consultant. I started my own business 10 years ago. Never did I want to become a professional speaker. In fact, when somebody asked me about 8 years ago, hey, will you come speak to our group? I said, no, thank you. I'm not a speaker. She said, that's not what I asked you. I said, will you come speak to our group? They need the secrets from the hiring side of the desk that you can give them as a recruiter. Please, they need your help. And the sociologist in me and the helper in me said, okay. And I didn't even throw up before I went on stage. So it was somebody else's idea. And I fell in love with my ability to help people and tell them the truth and inspire them. So I've been speaking now. I speak 2-3 times a week. I've been to South Africa, been all over. Consulting and an online content developer. Another thing, not my idea. My husband said to me, let's bottle your job hunt methodology, put you in a bottle, put you in front of the camera, and throw you online and help 1 million people. And my heart jumped out of my chest. Not because I wanted to be on camera. 36 takes on my first video. But I was so committed to my mission and my ability to help 1 million people that I did it. I did it. So many of these things were somebody else's idea. So be open. Be open. You get to do that. You can be open. You can say yes. You can try things on. I've been scuba diving in Mozambique. I have a farm in South Africa with lions on it. I have a zebra. I started my own business. I'm an accidental speaker. I've spoken in a township, Soshanguve in South Africa. All of this with a sociology degree from Longwood. And I flew to Texas to do a whole week of speaking gigs, and they named me the #1 stripe changer in America. It freaked me out a little bit, but there was nothing I could do about it because they made the poster up and everything. So I'm sharing my story with you because I remember what it's like to be sitting there at Longwood, and you have dreams and you have hopes, but you do not know how to get there. There is a path, there is a way. But not if you try to do it alone. Not if you try to do it alone. And not if you sit there surfing the web. Your fears, which are very real, most of them are so thin. It really will just take one single step to get through. Please, please believe me that this is a terrible way to look for work. Trying to do it alone, trying to figure it out on your own, not letting your parents, your friends, your neighbor, those old people that live down the street, if they say I have a connection for you, say thank you very much. I would love it. See where it goes. See where it goes. Again, job hunting is a contact sport. I'm going to share my 4-step job hunt process with you. Most people start a job search by writing a resume. And I'm going to tell you, if you haven't figured out what kind of a job you want, you're not going to be able to write a very good resume. So if you have no idea what you want to do, what you're going to have to do is rewrite your resume every time you find a job that you want. A better way to start your job search is, who am I? What do I want? And if you have no idea what job you want, start to look at the life that you want. I want a startup, fun, disruptive technology. I have no idea what that really means, but I like those words. It feels good, so I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to talk to people, and they're going to help me put it together. They're going to help me figure out what that is. I spoke with somebody last night who said, I love Farmville. I want to stay in Farmville. I said, phenomenal. Easy peasy job hunt. You're going to go to the library, and you're going to get a list of every employer in Farmville. And then you're going to start to say, oh, no. Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I'm going to go talk to them. So figure out what kind of a life you want right out of college, and then go see what sort of a jobs might give you that. Number 2, know how to get it. This is where you put together your career toolkit, your job hunt toolkit. What do you need in your toolkit to get a job? You do need a resume. What else?
Cover letter.
Yes, what else? Portfolio, if you're a graphic designer, if you're a nurse, you're putting together your portfolio. Some of you need portfolios, case studies. It'd be really cool for you to have project profiles for work that you're doing in technology. What else do you need in your toolkit?
LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. LinkedIn is mission critical. If you're not out there, don't be scared. How many of you are on Facebook? How many of you are on Instagram? How many of you are on something else out there? If you can do that stuff, you can do LinkedIn. Easy peasy. I've got a LinkedIn checklist. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, it's on my summary and you can get it for free. So once we're direct connections, you just scroll down and then you click and print. Or you can get my system and it's in there too. So you put together your tools, your marketing materials, and then go get it. Here's where a lot of people say, okay, I let people help me with my resume and stuff, but now I'm on my own, online. Do not get isolated at this point. Continue to ask people for suggestions and help. Do mock interviews. Ask for informational interviews. Let other people help you. You don't know what you don't know. It took me 2 years, full-time recruiting, calling 50 people a day, phone screening 20 people a day, interviewing 15 people a day, hiring 4 to 5 people a month. 2 years of that for me to understand all the junk that's happening on the hiring side of the desk. Don't expect yourself to understand all this stuff. You need people to help you figure it out. So in closing, and then we'll take questions. 5 key points, the things that I really hope you remember. They are in your handout. Number 1, The more you focus on what you want, the faster you're going to find it. I promise, I promise, I promise. Number 2, the 4 biggest barriers to your success, you nailed it, they're self-imposed. Number 3, there are little things, there are easy steps you can do to break through every one of them. Number 4, I didn't actually say this, but I'm going to say it now. Your fear, when your anxiety climbs and you're starting to sweat and you're thinking, I don't want to do that, that's a sign that you're onto something exciting. That's a sign that that's something you need to pay attention to. Or it's a sign that you might blow up. I'm nervous about this interview, then you need to prepare more for it. Your fear is your friend, and job hunting is a contact sport. Good news. Good news, I like to wrap up in a high spot. This is the number of unemployed people per opening, per job opening. This was 2010. How many of you are happy you were not graduating then? This is right now. That is a little more than 1 person per job opening. The jobs are out there for you. The jobs are out there. This is a look at hires and job opening. Again, very good trends here. Very good trends. They have more job openings than hires. They cannot hire fast enough. The jobs are out there. You just have to keep talking to people to find them. You can do this. You can do this. So help me on today, and then we'll do questions if we have time, which of course, for those who can stay, we will. Help me on today. Do not walk by your career services department. I have been blown away in the last 24 hours by what they have to help you. They know what they're talking about. They are pulling on alumni and employers, all sorts of resources. Take advantage. How many of you are graduating soon? You are about to become an alumni. Are you going to take advantage of the alumni office? You better, because they are there to help you. StrengthsFinder, how many of you have done the StrengthsFinder assessment? Oh, brilliant. If you haven't done it, this changed my life. It's a $15 online assessment, and it is brilliant. StrengthsCenter.com. Jot it down. Go do that for yourself. And then LinkedIn, you brought that up. Ashley, thank you.
Yes, let's give Catherine a round of applause.
Thank you.